Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And today I have a man that needs no introduction, Couch Investor. How you doing?
Thank you very much. Doing great. Doing great. How about you? Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Oh, I'm doing good. I wanted to do this call since they've put out their Q3 earnings, both SoFi and PayPal.
Mhm.
And I haven't been watching uh, your predictions on it. So I'm really excited to learn a little bit about what you thought about SoFi and PayPal. And we'll leave it to that for now, but maybe we'll get into more fintech stocks at a later date. But what was your first opinions of, let's say, SoFi stock first?
Well, SoFi as always delivers, right? I
Sure.
mean, it's been triple beats, double beats for a long, long time. That doesn't mean that the stock reacts positively, and that's exactly what has happened. I mean, we went from up 7% to down 7% in a matter of 20 hours or so. But no, as I said in my earnings review video and post on X, it was a very good quarter across the board, good comments on the earnings call. Stock will do what the stock will do. Plus, I then alluded to the fact that 3 months or 6 months ago, we had the same with Robinhood. Great quarter. Robinhood stock dropped during the same day or the day after. And then the next couple of days, it rebounded and it went up. And it went from $16 to $20, something like that. Bam, the next day, SoFi was up, 9%, maybe even more. I can't
Right.
remember. But um, all in all, good quarter, good execution across the board, especially from lending as well. And to be honest, it's just the start.
Okay. Okay. So you don't think that we're going to be dropping back down into the sevens or something like this? This is potentially an increased run up for the rest of the quarter, or where do you foresee the stock price going?
I mean, you never say never, but seven seems a bit much. Seven seems a bit much. Could we maybe, because of some macro stuff, market specific drawdowns, maybe go under $10 again one more time? Maybe. But I don't know. Based on what we've seen or what we've read plus heard from management, I don't see why. Unless it's a whole market correction, then okay, fine.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
all
What
specific.
what what was your biggest surprise during SoFi's quarter?
I think how well lending is already doing right now, especially I mean, the contribution profit was a record. I mean, for all segments was a record
Yeah.
quarter. Um, I was happy that the tech platform that reached above $100 million in revenue finally. Still quite weak on the info getting that we're getting on that side of the platform with Galileo and stuff like that. I mean, we've been hearing about the AWS of fintech for quite a long time. So yeah, but then again, maybe the deals are in the making in the background and they will only announce it when it's in the final stages. Um, so okay, fine. But no, overall, I'm very happy. Very happy that the amount of members that they added this quarter was well above what I thought. I mean, what was it, 756,000?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, they will finish well above the 2.3 million that they wanted for the year. So yeah, can't really complain.
Well, what's very interesting here, let me bring up my chart, but uh, on the actual quarter, they said they added 756,000 members. But if you look at how many members they had last quarter to this quarter, they actually added net less than 600,000. So they've been
Yeah,
subtracting a lot of members as well, which kind of makes you think, right? Like, how many members people are saying, "Oh, well, SoFi also counts their non-active customers." It's like, well, do they? Because they're subtracting a lot of customers here.
hmm,
So this is just taking their last quarterly numbers and then looking at the next one. They did only add 598,000 net new customers,
yeah,
uh, but they did have an additional, oops, sorry, 756,000.
yeah. Which I mean, yeah, makes sense. At least you know that that's the amount of churn. Again, I don't know how they calculate it, if it's for one quarter or if it's a couple of quarters of inactivity or if the account is closed. Maybe it's written somewhere, I don't know, but still, if you look at the amount of new members that come in, quite significant. Okay, there are some members that fall off, but I guess that's the same with every other platform out there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree with you, though, with the tech platform. It was probably the one red flag, in my opinion, just the lowering of guidance there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but was there anything else that sort of stood out to you as being negative aspects to SoFi's quarter?
No, just maybe the lack of information. That's
Mm,
all. The lack of information on that segment. The rest was, I mean, still on track for those 2026 goals. That's what I said before when we were still under $10. I was like, until those goals change on the downside, I don't see why I shouldn't trust management, or I don't see why I should turn bearish, right? Because even those goals, 2026, I think they'll beat it quite comfortably. I think the estimates for this year, next year, still quite low. We started this year very low. Now, okay, things are moving in the right direction from an analyst perspective, but um, yeah, I think it's still very low and makes it easy for SoFi to beat the numbers, to be honest.
well, it's funny, right? Whenever we started the year, I think they were suspecting like 15 or 16%, or maybe it was 13 to 16% growth rates. And analysts were having a field day whenever that was the case. And now it's closer to 22 to 24%.
Hmm.
And if we know SoFi, they'll probably beat on that as well. So
Most
that's just
likely, yeah.
on, yeah, that's just on revenue. It's the same thing on EPS as well. It was way lower. People were expecting like 6 cents of EPS early on, and now they're expecting closer to like 13.
Yeah, this
So
quarter was what, 5?
yeah,
So yeah. Things can change quite quickly. And that's the thing with these types of companies. We can be, let's say, wrong because the stock doesn't move for a long period of time. But when it starts to move, it also starts to move quite quickly, stock wise. And then the perspective on the company starts to change quite quickly. And that's the thing with Wall Street, right? It's always, oh, price target raised because the stock is up. Okay, thank you very much for coming with the facts after the facts.
so how do you value SoFi? Uh, like, do you continue to add in these prices, or are you looking to potentially sell out of SoFi soon? What sort of attracts you to this company?
Well, sell out, no, unless I don't know, unless somebody wants to buy our shares for $20-$30 today, then okay, he can have it. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But no, it's I don't. That's the thing. That's the mistakes I made early on. It's when stocks go up, I sold because well, I'm up, so why shouldn't I sell? But then I learned that it goes up because the company is doing well. If the company continues to do well, what's the point of selling, right?
Right.
Why should you sell a business that is working? And in SoFi's case, why should I sell a business that is still, I mean, it's growing nicely. And in my opinion, we're still at the start of a huge growth wave ahead. We're coming out of a couple of years where what was previously their primary business suddenly got crushed. And now it starts to be a good driver of growth for the business, and I think that will continue for years and years to come. Plus, they mentioned things about the fee-based revenue that they want to grow that, which is great. Better margins, lower risk, capital light. I mean, that's that's pretty good. I think we're still at the start of this credit card business, which losses right now and then should become quite a good business in the future. But yeah, do I add today? I didn't add today. I still have cash, and I did trade Alphabet, which worked out. Thank God I did not trade PayPal, but I would have. I just forgot.
I uh I'm still obviously a very big believer of SoFi, but I always like hearing people's reasons for why they hold it. Like whether you believe that fintech and is just going to eat up all the consumers that are branch banking right now, and these young demographics are eventually going to need lending products. Like, what was the thesis that sort of caught you on SoFi to begin with, or was it just a general business that you thought was undervalued and you potentially might not see it being a like a 10-year hold or something like this?
So first time I heard about SoFi, I think it was still, I mean, it was the IPOE SPAC.
Okay.
So quite a long time ago right now. And I don't know, it just seemed, of course, it was not like a unique thing, oh, one of a kind, because, okay, fintech, those types of apps, they exist, we know. But I think it's Anthony Noto that basically made it a buy for me instead of the other ones out there. I think he as a leader is one of the main reasons why I trust what management said, why I believe they're going to reach the goals in 2026, why I believe the launch of credit cards will work out, and probably why the company is now coming out of this three-year period of, well, lending being basically completely crushed, and why they came out of it a much stronger company. So it basically came down to great leadership. And this came at a time where I had Block in my portfolio, which had Jack Dorsey as CEO. And yeah, a bit different, right? A different type of CEO. And I don't know what happened, because when I invested first time in Square, he was still okay, great CEO. He knew that the company was a publicly traded company, and then somehow, I don't know what changed, but he forgot that Square was a publicly traded company with shareholders, and we wanted shareholder value to be created and grown throughout the years. But okay, Block, Square, still a very good business. I don't own any of them anymore. Switch completely to, well, now PayPal became a pretty big position, but we're going to talk about that a bit later. And SoFi became another position. I also had New, which I know you loved, you
Yep.
still love. I had New, and this is one of those stocks where I had at $4, added a lot, $3 something, $4, and then it was just went up super quickly. It just wasn't such a big position for me, and I had Mercado Libre, so I basically took all of New and put it in Mercado Libre, and that became an even bigger position
I was going to
for the
say that's
portfolio.
not a terrible trade. You're still in the same sector, benefiting off of a lot of the same ideals. So, but I hold both of those. In fact, I don't think there's
Yeah,
been a company that we've named today that I don't hold. I hold Block. I hold PayPal. Now, let's name another one that I'm a shareholder of.
Robinhood.
Robinhood. So, Robinhood. Do you think that SoFi and Robinhood can exist in the same space, or do you think that there's going to be a lot of fight for similar customers, and who wins in that case?
So Robinhood was a trade for me. It's not a long-term position. Was one when I talked about with some others a lot when it was at $8 or so. Went from 8 to 17 quite quickly. Also, I was like, okay, thank you very much. And then of course it went higher, but fine. I
I
made.
got in at 17, so I think I might
Ah,
have
so
bought your
you took
shares
my
from you.
share. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah, it
Um,
was right after the quarter, whenever it started crashing, after that great quarter, that's when I bought
yeah.
in.
No, but Robinhood, what Robinhood does very well is the app. SoFi, if it's the AWS of fintech, why can you not refresh the app? I don't. Okay, I'm not a US citizen, so I can't use it, but I've seen the app. Plenty of people have spoken about it. It shouldn't be such a difficult thing to refresh the whole app, right? To make it more a better user interface, better user experience. Robinhood's app is amazing. Now, do I think that only one can exist? No. I mean, look at the amounts of banks and fintech apps and stuff like that that already exist. But do I think that both can be winners? For sure. One can be a great winner just for a investment platform. Of course, they now have retirement stuff and all of that, but SoFi could be bigger. Could
Right,
be bigger because
right.
it has a bank. A lot of people say it is a bank. I say it has a bank. And Galileo.
I like that. It has a bank. That's a really good way of putting it, right? It's an asset. It's not the entire thing.
Yeah, because it didn't have a bank before, and people still said SoFi is a bank. No, it has a bank now.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, they announced a new product this quarter. SoFi did, the loan platform business, where they are going
Hmm.
to be underwriting for new businesses, similar to what Upstart does or Lending Club does. Lending Club for a percentage of their originations. What did you think about this? And I mean, I thought that this was such a big deal, it changed my thesis on the company. Did you think similar thoughts, or do you think that maybe people are overthinking what this means for SoFi?
Well, to be honest, other than reading about it not so long ago and then seeing that they generated close to $60 million in fee-based revenue for the quarter, which was up, okay, what was it, 5x? Okay, fine. It's just a small portion right now, but it can grow into something much, much bigger. And again, fee-based revenue is great. It's great
Mhm.
to have. So yeah, it could be another great growth driver, profitable one for the company for the long run. But unfortunately, I cannot tell you more right now. Um,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the fee-based revenue is the main aspect, right? It's like no capital intensity, capital light, fee-based revenue while still being in the lending space, and 60 million on only $1 billion of originations is a 6% take. That is incredibly high, about double what I thought that they were going to be taking. So I was just really, really excited to see that. Um, but yeah, why don't we move on to a little bit of PayPal talk, and then we can go back and forth from there. So
mhm.
first off, you saw both of these companies report earnings. Which one did you like more, SoFi or PayPal?
Probably SoFi. I mean, not probably, SoFi. Um, yeah, I think a year ago we also talked. Roy was here as well, I believe, and both of us had PayPal, but as a short-term play,
Hmm.
a starter position 1 year ago because Alex Chris came in, and then we said, okay, if they start to execute, this is going to be a permanent position, and that's exactly what has happened. PayPal is now actually one of the biggest position in the portfolio, and that's thanks to Alex Chris' execution. But to answer the question, yeah, SoFi's quarter was better. That doesn't mean that PayPal's one was bad. Wasn't perfect, but was good. Revenue growth of just 6%, which I think is the lowest it's been for forever since they've been a publicly traded company. But can I complain? No, I don't think so. And even if the stock has gone up to $80, 81, now 77 or 78,
Right.
still a long way to go, still generating $6 billion in free cash flow, still buying back $6 billion in shares. I mean, why should I complain? When this company continues to grow, maybe it's not growing double digits, might be in the future with advertising and all of that, plus reacceleration in growth. Why am I complaining? I mean, 1 year in, a bit more for Alex Chris, and I think he's done quite a good job, and I think they'll continue to do a pretty good job.
So you said it's transitioned from a trade to a permanent hold, one of your largest. I don't know if I've made that change quite yet. I still am deciding on whether or not it's a trade for me. Uh, what made that switch for you? Help me here.
Yeah, but first you have a lot of fintech financial plays in your portfolio, so maybe that's why it's a bit different. I mean, I think you have four as well, right?
Myself?
Shift four.
Yeah, Shift Four, Nubank, PayPal, SoFi, Block, Hood. I don't know SoFi if I already named that. That's probably the list.
Basically, the fintech ETF is available at your
Yeah,
place.
yeah. The only ones
So
I'm not holding are the best performing ones, like Coinbase and Affirm.
yeah, but
But
yeah, okay, best performing ones from the past, but who knows what might happen in
right,
the future?
right,
Uh,
yeah.
but no, so you see, you have to think about your other positions, whether or not PayPal should replace one of the other or be in a portfolio with the other. I have less of that struggle, let's say. I have SoFi and I have PayPal. Of course, some of the others, Mercado Libre offers Mercado Pago, so okay, fine, but again, that's Latin America. What made me make it a bigger position was one, the fact that the stock just didn't move. just stayed at 60, the company was still buying back $1 billion of shares, still generating $1 billion of free cash flow. So I'm like, huh, okay, it's still growing. It has grown for the last couple of years as well. I mean, even if you exclude the pandemic, there was Apple Pay, there was Google Pay, there were all of those other options, and they can still grow. So yes, it's more competitive today, but there's no indication that this company is dying. Actually, on the contrary, I think now it's becoming actually much better um, since new management came in.
So the revenue, because obviously you're very bullish on this, and I'm bullish on PayPal too, but I think that I could see myself making this conversation a little interesting, taking the other side here.
Mhm.
Revenue is slowing. Total take rate, transactional take rate, still going down. I think this was the lowest quarter reported on take rate. What's the long-term potential for PayPal?
Yeah, so
Because
total
obviously
take rate.
well, sorry,
Yeah,
let me just preface as well that
yeah,
the marketplace for payments is growing faster than PayPal. So they are losing slightly on market share, but they still are growing. They're not a
correct.
dying company.
No. And I agree. Total take rate, transaction take rate has come down. My hope is that we're reaching a bottom, especially now that we know that Braintree, they're going to be priced to value.
Mhm.
So yeah, okay, maybe that will not grow as fast as before, but for margins, that should be better. Plus, they're taking Venmo a bit more seriously, which is great because Venmo is an incredible asset to have. They are going to be introducing, I mean, already introducing advertising, which should help with margins, with growth as well. And since we are now at revenue growing just 6%, I mean, 2025 should be easier, the year-over-year comparisons. Of course, you just don't want to have each year, one bad year, one good year, one bad year, one good year. You want to
Mhm.
see accelerated growth, even if it was a weak quarter or a strong quarter. But I think with all the changes that they're making with Fastlane, Braintree, Venmo, all of that, I think all of that will lead to reacceleration in growth, and with them actually bringing more value to the table, convincing customers that, look, this is the new PayPal right now. Yes, previously we were maybe selling it for cheap, but now we think it brings more value, so we're going to price it as we think it's worth, which is something that Adyen has done perfectly for a long period of time.
But Adyen, however, it didn't quite see the slowing in growth rates whenever they were pricing to value, right? I think they're actually
Mhm.
probably going to report probably the fastest growth rate that they've seen. Uh, well, Braintree it slowed to what, 11%?
Something like that. Yeah.
So does the is Braintree what it was chalked out to be, or do you see it as an ass? Like, I don't know. This has been the big thing that I'm thinking of. It's like whenever Braintree was growing 30+%, I really thought that it could compete with the likes of the Stripes and the Braintrees, or
Mhm.
sorry, Stripe and Adyen and everything. Now that they are increasing their cost to sort of reflect that, I don't see them getting as many deals. And I just worry that PayPal's growing products may shrink, but monetization still will grow. But then I worry about I don't know. I just think that this is uh, whenever the price came all the way down to about like the 50-60 mark, I saw a growth company that people were pricing like it was value, but
Mhm.
still growing. And Alex Chris calls it a growth company. But is it a growth company, or are we going into strictly value here, where everything, all growth rates turn into single digits, margins increase, and it's just a buyback game? Is that what you see for it here, or you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, no, I 100% see what you're saying, but that's the thing. I never saw PayPal as going to be a growth stock, like meaning 15, 20% growth for the business. Maybe EPS wise, okay, EPS
Sure.
could grow much faster for sure. But if they grow 10%, 12% eventually because of advertising, because, well, it's up to them actually. If Braintree's revenue growth should reaccelerate, it's up to PayPal to convince those customers that, well, the customers should pay more because, well, that's all the value that we're bringing to the table. So that's up to them. But even if it's not growing as a growth company, which, by the way, it's not valued as a growth company, so that's fine.
You're right.
It should still have substantial upside from an investment perspective from the price we're at today, just because of how profitable this is, plus all the buybacks, plus I still believe I mean, we know we always make the same example. We take Uber, their advertising business makes $1 billion probably now already more per year. I think PayPal can easily beat that in the coming years. That's a high margin business, so that adds quite a lot. So I think we're going to see a reacceleration in growth. Do I think we're going to the 15, 20%? No. But if we can get to 10, 11%, I think that would be quite good. And yeah, Adyen, whatever, it's a very, very good business, very well run business, vertically integrated. The only time it went down, that's because they invested more, so margin got hit, but the business itself was doing quite well and is still doing quite well. So different types of companies. Plus, I have to touch back on Venmo. If they can make that work and monetize that, I mean, that could also be quite a big growth driver. But again, as with SoFi and with other companies, it's up to them. It's not up to me, it's up to them. Like, if you think you have a great product, you have to convince your customers, future clients, whatever, that, well, they have to pay up. Or with Venmo, they'll have to use the service because it's the best one out there.
Yeah. No, I've been following PayPal. I mean, it's probably getting around 2 years at this point, and I said I'd give myself 18 months, or sorry, sort of like 6 quarters, 18 months, to figure out if I was going to just trade this thing or invest long term. And I always see these quarters where they come out and they say, hey, you know what, we're cross-selling the debit card extremely well, and Venmo debits and pay with Venmo, and these are bringing in 5x, 4x times more revenue per customer. And once we know how to solve this, then we can bring this out through the rest of the customers. Or PayPal complete payments, lower churn rate, higher monetization. Once we roll that out, the monetization will be crazy. And then each individual quarter, they post revenue, and it's just less than what I thought it was going to be. And I just think it's because branded checkout, their largest segment, is not doing as good as these other segments and aspects that they're working on. So it's just like their biggest segment is almost like a headwind a little bit to their overall growth. And it's just hard for me to value this company now, because I do believe in Alex Chris, but I still am considering it a trade. But repurchases was amazing this quarter. 1.8 billion, and the most of that was under $60 a share. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I agree with your concerns. And I mean, yeah, especially if you see the growth rates, fine. But I have it here. The branded checkout, the TPV mix across PayPal's payment platforms, so branded checkout percentage of total, has been 27% for over a year now. So it's not that it's less, it's still quite strong, but I agree with you that it should be stronger. Now, maybe we're still too early to say that, okay, Fastlane and all the improvements, what they want to integrate with Braintree in the future, etc. Maybe it's too soon to tell. I mean, we're now in a quarter where, I mean, there's a lot of shopping going on soon. So
yeah,
that could show us whether or not things are working out. I mean, transaction margin dollars are all trending in the right direction. So that's great. But yeah, total take rate, transaction take rate, all of that, I hope will bottom soon enough.
Transaction margin percent was great. That was great. I think that was a lot of Braintree, right? Being a big
that was
contributor
40,
now.
Yeah, 46.6, yeah.
Yeah. Total active accounts climbing back up. Monthly actives, they are really getting this down. I mean, I'm excited to see what it is this quarter. I think they're going to break a new record there. Um, so I guess it's maybe just a total take rate, and your suggestion is that you think it's going to bottom and start to recover.
I mean, that's the hope, right?
Right.
You would not want, because it's already quite low. You do not want it to continue to go down too much. So yeah, I mean, at one point it will bottom. The question is where is the bottom, right? So
Do you have
yeah,
any insight or opinions on when you think that'll be?
no,
Okay. Yeah,
no,
because
but
I would love to be back on the. Well, I've never really been on the long term investment side of PayPal, but um, I'd love to support it. Alex Chris has been an amazing addition, but I also like. I don't know. I just I want to see those numbers that they've been holding up, and obviously I'm already quite green on this position, so
mhm.
uh, I yeah, still just
What
considering what to do.
what do you think about the stable coin?
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting, but I want to see if, like they said, they paid some of their vendors this way. Um, Dan Schulman said that they believe that they could save like what was it, or the cost to use the stablecoin was 1/100th of the just regular U.S. dollars. So these sort of statistics just blow me away whenever you're talking about a payments company. But this is the thing that I always feel with PayPal. It's like every statistic that they say, they make 200 iterations a year or 200 iterations a quarter. I forget what the statistic is. Each one of them, slowly they find these margin like bettering activities, and then they apply it across the entire base.
Mhm.
And so every time I just get more excited than what they actually post, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so I'm slightly excited about the PayPal USD, but I want to see it at like show me how it's actually bettering it. To tell me some numbers about the total cost that it saved you. Uh,
Yeah,
and
that would be useful.
you
Like
know,
how improving margins, getting payments faster for less. I mean, that's the point, right? Getting stuff faster for less. So if they can make it grow, because I know now it's a bigger focus than before. If they can make it grow, they can save quite a lot of money, and it should improve margins. But then again, yeah, we don't know because we don't get much information.
and I was really excited about PayPal buy now pay later.
Mm.
So this was another thing. They during their last investor day, they talked about how they had a higher satisfaction than Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm, all of them, and they were attracting the highest, um, like the most affluent customers.
Hmm.
And then they even brought out this statistic uh, during the quarter where they said their new checkout experience is seeing a 15 to 20% increase in buy now pay later. But then they don't drop any numbers on this. So I I get all excited about all these different aspects of PayPal, of whether this payments company is going to become similar to a lender, similar to a firm that would give a big boost in the stock price. Uh, and are they going to continue to just sell those books? I forget the name of the company that just bought up their entire European buy now pay. Sorry.
KKR, KKR,
Yeah, KKR.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so if they continue to do that, those things excite me. Um,
Hmm.
but then they don't talk about it in a couple of quarters, and then I
Yeah.
wonder if something's going south. Or
No, I don't know. Maybe that's just my feeling. I think like he's very focused on profitable growth for now.
Mhm.
I mean, since day one, he's been saying profitable growth, profitable, and that's really the two words I've been hearing from him the most. So I think he's very focused on making sure that PayPal gets in a very good position, a profitable one, still growing. But once the company is in a position where he says, okay, we're in a very good position right now, we can start play around with some other stuff. That doesn't mean that they're not going to make sure that Venmo continues to grow, Braintree and stuff like that. But the focus is definitely on the profitability aspect, um, which again, if you can generate even more free cash flow and the stock still is under $100, that means more shares get taken off the market, and pretty good for long-term shareholders, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, total diluted share count has been one direction, right? And down and to the right, and it's been
Yeah.
beautiful. And that's even with all the new executives and potentially new stock comps and everything, and it still looks amazing. So they're doing great things there for sure. I just I mean, my viewers will know I'm 100% growth focused. Like
Hmm.
PayPal has been a divergence for me because I don't usually buy companies that think are undervalued just from a value perspective.
Yeah.
Um, but it was in the area of fintech. It was so undervalued in the 60s and 50s that it was just brain dead to me. But you know, whenever companies just sheerly focus on the profitability aspect, it does
Hmm.
give me feelings of incumbency, like
Yeah, yeah.
uh have you cemented where you are and are just trying to make the most monetization out of the base that you have? Um so I do kind of like the aspects of the like from a growth investing standpoint, it is nice to also grow while not trying to maximize profitability. It kind of gets placed on the back burner while you're trying to achieve larger market share. So
Yeah.
it's also for me just like a not what's right for my portfolio, but also just like an investing style that I can wrap my head around.
Okay, no, makes sense. I mean, the one thing I don't want to see them do is pay a dividend, because then that's basically reaffirming that yeah, we are uh, we are old and not moving much. But hopefully that won't happen. Um, but yeah, no, I can understand your sentiment, especially if you look at SoFi, especially if you look at New as well. Though those companies are growing quite faster than PayPal. But yeah, I think we both entered with a with the same mindset with PayPal. It's very undervalued, cheap. Um, so we bought. Okay, I made it a bigger position because I believe it can be bigger, should be bigger, even based on today's results. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But I agree. Yeah, 6% year-over-year growth is definitely not good enough.
Yeah, I think Nubank has hit a lot of the uh and especially Mercado Libre as well, an aspect that I really like, Um, profitability gets placed on sort of the back burner, but that doesn't mean that they're not profitable. They're still
Hmm.
massively profitable, massively profit expanding, but market share has still always been the focus. Um, I see a lot of that in SoFi as well, but Nubank is just on steroids. But um, I'm curious why you ended up taking a position out of New. You said you got in around the fours and or three or fours,
Hmm.
and you got out when
11,
11.
I
Yeah,
would say. Yeah.
yeah, great profit.
No, that's the main reason. Sadly, that is the main reason why, because it has gone up and it's been green a lot,
Yeah,
um, but still a small position compared to the others. So I was like, okay, I wanted to trim down on positions, and unfortunately, this one had to go away because I had another great Latin American company, Mercado Libre. But why did I pick New? Same, probably one of the same reasons why I picked SoFi. New was playing in that Latin American market, fintech, growing very fast, incredible leadership. And unlike in the United States, I feel that New is very unique in those areas. You don't get many big successful companies like that. Plus, it was already a huge digital neobank.
sure, sure.
So, so I was like, okay. I mean, it wasn't small by all means, but it was a fast growing company, great leadership, great product, solves a lot of issues for the folks in that region. So I was like, okay, doesn't seem that expensive. Let's buy it. Little did I know that we're going to go quite quickly to double digits, but okay. And probably your next question is going to be why sell for Mercado Libre? Um,
Well, it is what I was really thinking about is that balance between, um, you know, wanting to hold companies for the long term, but also having a certain almost position cap, so then you
Hmm.
can follow them closely and not have like a like a competency bias because you're not able to track 40 companies at once. Uh, I've always had a problem with that. I hold way too many companies. You see it in
Hmm.
my fintech positions right now. Um, but I have a very hard time trimming for that exact reason. You trim something, it goes up. I like the worst thoughts come to my head whenever that happens. So I just hold everything. Um, but why Mercado Libre?
Why
I'm a
Mercado
shareholder in
Libre?
Mercado Libre as well. So
Yeah, voilà. Um, why Mercado Libre? Because honestly, I think it's not the biggest company in my portfolio. It's in the top 5, but it's probably one of the companies where I don't know. I barely check on the stock price. It's because the management there is incredible, great track records. I mean, it's been public for a long, long time, so you can actually see it. Um, it's okay. It's a bit cheesy to say, but it definitely resembles Amazon. So Amazon of that region in a lot of things, especially logistics, which is why it makes them so powerful in that region. But yeah, fast growing, profitable, taking market share, innovative, great leadership. Again, that geographical position was important because I think there's a lot of growth that's going to come out of those select countries there. Them being a pretty loved brand as well helped with that fact. And yeah, wasn't that big of a company when I bought it. Went up, then went back down quite quickly. I mean, when I went to the 2000, then we went back to 500, 600 or so. Um, yeah, I think after the 2021, 2022 bear market, I think we revisit the $600 mark. But yeah, not that big of a company, very strong, so quite a lot of upside. Um, what's not to like about
yeah,
Mercado Libre, to be honest? Like I said, it's one of those companies where I rarely sleep bad when they report earnings. It's like, okay, they report earnings tomorrow, great.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, I find the same thing with the company. And even if I don't have time to check on Mercado Libre's numbers, I can wait a couple days. I know it'll be fine.
Hmm.
uh, but if people want to look, you can kind of take any time frame with Mercado Libre and compare it to Amazon, and it's done about a 2x of what Amazon has done in terms of performance. It's been stellar. Maybe not in recent history,
Hmm.
because obviously Amazon's done really well, but it's very funny because one, that company has a very long track record of being public, similar with Amazon, but has done extremely well in recent history. Now, uh, one thing I'll say, this has always bugged me, and the reason why I like Mercado Libre so much, and the reason why I like Block so much, is I used to follow. I mean, I'm sure you know them about them. Andreessen Horowitz, the venture
Hmm.
capitalist company. Um, so they used to say every company would be a fintech company eventually. Every company's a fintech company. That's what they used to say. And I loved that saying. And it always made me mad that Amazon never got into, um, you know, customer or like consumer finances, or even Shopify. Shopify is one of my largest holdings, my second largest holding. And it perturbed me to no end that they never did a Cash App like product. They have Shop App, but they're not taking
Hmm.
customer deposits. That bugged me. Mercado Libre solved all those problems. They got into credit, they got into logistics, they got into, Mercado Pago with the fintech side. They did everything that I wanted all of those businesses to do. And they seem to be dipping their toes in all of them, and all of them are seeing success. So I think it's one of the greatest things. Those are my only two Latin American companies, Nubank and Mercado Libre. But one of the things I love about them is they're learning from their big brothers in America and just
Hmm.
taking all the mistakes and everything, and they're making perfect businesses out of them
Yeah,
in
and
in a
it's not
harder
like
environment.
yeah, exactly, and it's not like Amazon is not operating in those countries or Alibaba or any other. They are operating there, but Mercado Libre still manages to win
Yeah.
because it is localized. So yeah, no, it's an amazing amazing business. you said Shopify is your second largest, so
Mhm.
your first is probably what, a SoFi or
Nvidia.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The one, this is the one that I sold too early, and that made me learn my lesson, um, to never sell winners just because you're up a lot.
Yeah. No, uh, I learned that pretty on because the first company that I ever bought was Tesla in 2015.
Hmm.
That was just how I got into the markets, and just trying to buy and sell stocks was never working for me. And so I just thought, I'll just buy and I'll hold things for too long. So I've been an Nvidia shareholder since 2018, and just have never, well, I mean, I've trimmed a lot on the way up, but I've never sold
Hmm.
out. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, but
that's
um,
pretty good returns, I should say. Uh,
it's been the best performing stock I've ever bought. And that is why it's my number one. It's not the number one stock that I have by cost basis. It's just the
mhm.
number one that I have because of market value.
Yeah,
Or sorry,
no,
not
makes
cost
sense.
basis, sorry, book value. It's not the
Yeah,
highest in book value, it's the highest in market value.
yeah, no, makes sense. It's a bit the same with Tesla for me.
Yeah.
Bought 2019, August 2019, and then okay, then it went up quite quickly, quite fast, and that's why it's number one. But with Nvidia, it still hurts because I should have done what you did, just take profits, not sell out completely. But when you're up like 3, 4x, you start to think, how much, how much more? Because there was still no like real understanding of what's going to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know how much more, but 4x seems quite good, no? And then
Yeah.
and then it went up more and more and more. But lesson, it's not like I lost money. I could have made more, but a lesson learned for the future. And I think, I mean, it's a very important lesson. Don't sell your winners just because you're up. Trim,
Yeah.
take profits. That's always fine, but closing out a position will probably hurt your performance in the long run.
No, and that's all I try to talk about in this channel, because I think you're completely right. Once people see that they're outperforming the S&P in a certain position, they're like, "Oh, well, this can't be sustainable now because I'm outside of the average."
Hmm.
And it's so not true. Like, this is why I don't want to ever touch Nubank as well. This is probably the most public example uh, on my channel, because the day I bought it, I made a video about it, and that was around like $3.80. I hold it today. I'm not. I haven't sold a share, and I'm going to take that thing to a 10x because it'll work out that way. At least that's the way I see it. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it does look green, like Nubank. I mean, and I don't know. The company is better now than whenever I bought it, so it justifies the premium in my opinion, because there are new people that are going to justify Q3 earnings and see that this is a buy-in price for them or something along these lines. I
No,
remember there's
I.
been so many times where people write to me, and we're going to see this a lot with SoFi as well. But people would say, "Oh, Nubank's at a 500 PE, like I have to sell it."
Mm-hmm.
And now I think it's around like a 30 or something like this. Well, like I've held it at 500 and I've held it at 30, and now it's the highest I've ever held it at. Somehow, you know.
Yeah. Now PE is it depends for what company, but yeah, for SoFi, for Palantir, for example, I mean, oh, it has a high PE. Yeah, okay, it just turned that E positive. So what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of looking at those metrics? Like, it doesn't make much sense. But okay, I mean, at the end of the day, it's our money, right?
Well,
If
because
if we
they heard Warren Buffett talk about PE one time whenever he was talking about 30, 40-year-old companies, and they're applying it to a company that's 10 years old. It's their
well,
fourth
Warren
quarter of
Buffett
profitability.
Warren Buffett holds also expensive stocks. Huh? Coca-Cola doesn't have a cheap PE. Apple does not have a cheap PE at all, although he
Yep.
has been selling quite a lot, which I don't blame him. But yeah, PE, I mean, just looking at PE and making up your mind just doesn't make much sense.
Do you have a go-to metric?
I like price earnings to growth.
Okay.
But then again, not for all companies, of course. Price to free cash flow is a good one, but then again, not for all companies because some don't have any free cash flow just yet. Um, so yeah, it depends. Depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't go with metrics. I go with how's the company doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much better.
No, I completely agree with you. I love Peter Lynch, so I'm a big
Hmm.
peg guy, but um yeah, that's the main statistic that I try to look to. And it still looks like, in my opinion, that Block, SoFi, Newbank, for example, are still undervalued. Um I think that you might get back into Block. I think that this is a changing time for them, and you might see it. I think that Jack Dorsey has let his um, has given too many people too many powers in his own company, and now he's realizing that he needs to sort of re underwrite the businesses. And so Square has been an extreme disappointment, but I don't think that that's going to be the way it is going forward.
No, I don't disagree with you. I mean that's why I wanted to reopen a small position when they announced that they are going to start to focus on the profitability side of things and the shareholder value. I was like, finally,
Yeah,
finally,
yeah,
you remember. Plus, yeah, I don't even think the company is trading at a high premium right now. I think it's still trading at the same price as it's been for the last couple of months. They're reporting Thursday. Um, I mean, it's still a very good company that's growing quite nicely. Stock hasn't moved. Stock hasn't moved for a long, long time. So I could see it go up because unlike PayPal, they have the growth, right? Um, but then again, PayPal has the free cash flows and buying back a lot of shares, etc., etc. But I don't see myself opening another position in fintech, to be honest, unless it's something like new, for example.
yeah.
Um, Probably not going to be Block. I have looked into Shift 4 a long, long time ago. A couple of months ago, because I like the guy, the CEO. I know you've spoken with him. Um,
Hmm.
I like space. He likes space. So no, also was priced as a cheap company, growing quite quickly. So yeah, that's interesting. But now for now, it's focus on having a cash position because I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. Maybe some volatility, maybe some opportunity. So I rather have some cash right now and wait and see what happens.
It is funny. I never had this idea of wanting to create a cash position, but I've uh, recently just changed careers. So I stopped being a financial advisor, and part of that was selling my book of business. So I'm
Hmm.
sitting on a lot of cash right now, and kind of along the lines with all these other investors who kind of have a lot of uncertainty. So I'm with you, but I've never been a big cash guy because I've always just wanted something to work, and it's probably been to my disfavor a lot of times. But
Now
um,
I'm also usually fully invested.
yeah,
And not just now because one is a good earnings season, but I think it's an earnings season entering in a volatile period. There's elections going on, end of the year, whatever. So I thought maybe I should increase the cash position a little bit and wait and see what happens. Plus, it has been quite a good year, so it doesn't hurt to have some dry powder and see there are some opportunities that will arise. Because this year, I mean, it's been a very very good year for
yeah,
for the stock market. So yeah, usually I don't have much cash, but this time I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Maybe there's an opportunity, maybe not. Earnings season is always interesting, as we've seen with SoFi. Stock goes down 7-8% after a triple beat great quarter, and then it goes up 9%. Okay, go figure.
yeah. No, seriously. So, uh, do you have anything that I should be aware of or keep an eye out on the watch list that maybe you're not seeing a lot of investors pay attention to? A little couch
Hmm.
investor sneak peek.
I don't think it's a sneak peek, but I don't know. You probably heard about Rocket Lab.
Hmm.
This is a small position for me, which I'm also okay. This one is also very much in the green, like 140%, just because this year it has gone from $4 to now $10, $11 or so in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So this time I'm not selling because it's still a very, very small company, like market cap wise, very small. They're going to enter the next growth wave with Neutron, bigger rocket, should be competitive product rocket compared to the Falcon 9. So that's one that's interesting because like I said, I like space, so it put me into Rocket Lab's lab. Other than that, I'm sure I'm missing some things here, but can't think of it. Maybe if you have some names that are on your watch list, I would say, yeah, this one.
Yeah, right. It's always hard to think whenever it's right off the top. But I had Matt money on a while ago. I think Rocket Lab was around $4 at the time, and I was having none of it. I didn't like the company at all. And look at me, I've got egg on my face, and Rocket Lab investors are doing great. So good, like really happy for Matt and all the other people that decide to invest in Rocket Labs. But I couldn't see it.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Like the market is like, how big's the market? Like it's just
yeah, that's the thing. It's how big is the market? It's as big as people tell you it is, right? Some people say it's $1 trillion. Okay, if it's $1 trillion, then it's very, very big. But even if it's not $1 trillion, when you're buying a company that's worth $5 billion, and then you look at SpaceX, okay, it's not apples to apples, but SpaceX is valued at what, 200 billion or something like that in the private sector right now. Okay, it's a tremendous business. Can't compare, but 5 billion, 200 billion, even if they don't reach the 200 billion, even if they just reach 50 or 100, that's still considerable upside. Of course, they still
right.
have to compute because it's space. So if your rockets explode, that's costing you quite a lot of money. But yeah, you have to be interested in that. I've opened the watch list now, so maybe you've heard of Transmedics.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot of people following it, but I honestly have not dived into it yet. They had
Yeah.
a quarter that shocked a lot of people to the downside, right?
Yes, it's down 36% in the past week. So
Okay.
yeah, that's one. Grab is another one.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically, you've heard about it?
Yeah, the Singapore delivery app,
Uber,
super
yeah,
app.
super app. It's very interesting because I don't know why, but Asia really got it figured out with the super app stuff. Like one
Yeah.
app where you can basically do everything. It's quite something. It's a shame we don't have it, but apparently Elon Musk is saying that X is going to be that. Although I'm still waiting 18 months already. I'm on the subscription wait list, so I don't know about the super app, but okay. Um, Other than that, no, all the rest just on the watches because I wanted to keep track of the earnings. But no, CrowdStrike was on there. No, it's already back at 303. So
Yeah. No, I think I'm getting older because, back whenever I was first investing, I was like 18, 19. I was putting my money into all these crazy ideas, and Tesla at 2015 was one of those crazy ideas. Like, you know, and now I see 3D printing companies, space companies, and all this stuff, and I can't wrap my head around it. I'm just, I feel like I'm getting older because I'm like, guys, show me the market. What? And they're like, the market is going to come. That's why you have to invest in now. And I just like, even whenever I've looked at reports for how fast the space market is going to grow, I saw like reports saying it's going to grow at a 12% CAGR and all these things. I'm like, payments is growing at like an 18% CAGR. Like, why would I get into Rocket Labs when I can get into PayPal? Like, I know that's not a great comparison, but that's just how I saw it. It's like, what is I know
no,
it's
but it
very vast
depends.
space, but is there a lot of business up there right now?
No, but that's the thing. It depends what you're looking for because there are launch systems, there are rocket manufacturers. Because a lot of companies want to reach space, they just don't have the rockets. They don't know how to stay in space and perform all of those things. So it really depends what type of company you are. And I think Rocket Lab trying to be that one-stop shop. Yeah, it's again, it's a small bet for me. but I'm increasingly bullish on the trajectory of the company. Again, like you said, it's still early on with the whole space thing. I mean, SpaceX is a great success story. That doesn't mean that every other company will be a success story. The same thing also with, like you said, 3D printing. Great concept. I don't know if it's a good investment for me, because are they making money? Is it so special? I mean, I can have a 3D printing machine in my living room right now. I could be 3D printing whatever. So I don't know. But yeah, I think space is going to be quite big. I think space is going to be quite big because of these services, whether it's for pharmaceutical companies doing stuff up there, internet providers, satellites, whatever. Companies will have to use one of the providers to bring you to orbit and beyond. And I
I
don't think
forgot
they're
about the
going to be quiet.
pharmaceutical part because I think I heard about that one time that there's like different drugs can perform differently in a zero G environment or something like this.
It's crazy. To be honest, that's why I like space. I've loved space since I was a kid. I used to have all the books. Wanted to be an astronaut, but I think every kid wants to be an astronaut at one point. Um, but I'm very happy that space is becoming more affordable, because one day I will have my selfie with Earth behind me. I don't know when, but I think that will happen one day.
You should get in touch with Jared Isaacman. He might help you get there.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
But Neil, this has been a great chat. We are already over an hour. So, where can people find you?
On the couch. Unfortunately, there's no couch today, but no, on YouTube, Couch Investor, and on X, it's same Couch Investor as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But bye for now.
Bye bye.